But I do want to talk about, or I should say, we just talked about a quarterback that could be on the move in Aaron Rodgers. How about we talk about a quarterback that is on the move already? And that's Sam Darnold. The much maligned career of Sam Darnold in New York is now over. The Jets trade Sam Darnold to the Panthers for essentially a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a sixth-round pick between the 2 years, this year and next year. Seeing this move by the Panthers, to me, behind the Matthew Stafford trade for the Rams, is the best quarterback move of the offseason. I like it better than the Carson Wentz trade for the Colts. I like it better than the Jameis Winston signing for the Saints. I like it better than the Ryan Fitzpatrick signing or the Andy Dalton signing. I like this move a lot for the Panthers again. I think it's the second best move, only behind Matthew Stafford getting traded to the Rams. Because I think it's a massive win for the Panthers. It's a massive win for Sam Darnold. Here's why, in my mind, it's a massive win for the Panthers. They were able to get a quarterback with the most upside possible at this point in the offseason. Right? Obviously, as we know, does not look like Deshaun Watson is going to get traded for all the legal situations that are going on. And that situation continues to get ugly, playing out in front of our eyes. We'll see how it goes. But as we know, it seems very unlikely right now that Deshaun Watson will be able to get traded. Russell Wilson, for all the speculation, I thought he was going to get traded. Does not look like that's going to happen. So you look at the free agent options. Gross. A lot of bad options out there right now. And when you look at where the Panthers were in the draft, sitting at there at number 8, I don't think they were able to trade up to number 4. That's where the Falcons are, division rival. I don't think the Falcons are allowing the Panthers to trade up to get their franchise quarterback. So if you're the Panthers, they're at number 8. If quarterbacks do go 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the projection right now, we'll see how it plays out on draft night, but that seems to be the way things are going. So if you're sitting there at number 8, and a quarterback is there, it's going to be the 5th quarterback on the board. And I don't really think hitching your wagons, I don't really think your plan being right now, hey, we're going to take the 5th quarterback available, and that's going to be our guy in 2021. That's not a viable plan. That's not a real option. So you look at the options around him. You're going to trade for Jimmy G, the price is way high. Whether you believe the 49ers or not, they're asking for a first-round pick. That's lunacy. You're not going to draft the 5th quarterback in the draft and expect him to be your guy moving forward. Obviously, as we know, the trade market is dried up. Teddy Bridgewater, for all the aggressiveness that you had in trying to acquire basically any quarterback possible, you're not going to run him back in 2021. That's why, to me, Sam Darnold was the best option for the Panthers. And they were able to get it. I'm high in Sam Darnold. We'll get to him in a second here. But you know what good teams do? And this is what really good organizations, this is what successful winning teams like the Steelers, like the Saints, these are what these teams do. They take trash from one organization, or I should say quote-unquote trash. Bad teams that blame the player for not playing good instead of realizing that, hey, we didn't put him in a situation to succeed. So you take a bad team's quote-unquote trash, and you take him into your organization, put him and give him the resources to have success and watch him succeed. Make him your treasure. You know what they say? One man's trash is another man's treasure. The really good teams in the NFL, bargain hunt. They take teams' trash, make it their treasure. You can look at just what the Saints did with Drew Brees. It's very, very possible to turn a bad quarterback around or turn around a quarterback whose situation has hurt him more than his actual play and make him a winning player. Even on a lesser scale than Drew Brees, because obviously that is, talking about rags to riches, the best story in the NFL, if you will, in that sense. But even on a lesser scale, how about what the Titans did with Ryan Tannehill? Similar, because Tannehill was in Miami, 6 years Miami, big sample size, 2 with Adam Gase. Yeah, well, exactly, 2 with Adam Gase. In his Dolphins career, 123 touchdown passes, 75 interceptions. As we know, traded to Tennessee, was supposed to be the backup for Marcus Mariota. 2 late-round picks is what he was traded for And as we know, he comes halfway through the 2019 season, becomes the starting quarterback of the Titans, leads them to the playoffs. Leads them to the playoffs again in 2020. And so far in 1.5 seasons in Tennessee, 55 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions. So cut down significantly on the interceptions, even just the ratio. But I think that's a good blueprint because honestly, I think Sam Darnold has more talent as a higher upside than Ryan Tannehill. So if the Titans were able to put Ryan Tannehill in a position to succeed where he is leading them to the playoffs in back-to-back years, I think the Panthers absolutely had the potential to do so. They could do the same thing, but even better, have even better results than what Ryan Tannehill has been. And the worst case, let's just go worst case example or worst case scenario, because if you listen to the show, I'm a Sam Darnold fan. I think he's really good. Before the Colts traded for Carson Wentz, I really wanted the Colts to get Sam Darnold. But let's just go worst case scenario. Let's truly say that, it's not only the Jets' fault. Sam Darnold truly does stink. This guy just can't play. He didn't figure out in New York. He can't figure out in Carolina. Well, guess what? That's not a problem because with the contract, with the draft picks that Carolina gave up, they are in the perfect position to basically pull the ripcord, hit the emergency brake, and get out. Whether it's trading for a new quarterback in 2022, drafting a quarterback in 2022, they didn't give a lot of assets away to get Sam Darnold. The contract is very easily maneuverable. So again, if Sam Darnold flops, if he can't play, 2021 leaves a bad taste in your mouth, similar to the way 2020 did for the Panthers with Teddy Bridgewater. You have the flexibility to get out and get someone else in here for 2022. And guess what? If you were to draft a quarterback at 8, no matter who it was, if they drafted a quarterback at 8, the 5th quarterback, potentially, out of 5 in the first round, they don't have the flexibility to where if they stink in the first year, they don't really show you a lot. If you're underwhelmed, you don't have the flexibility to get out as you will with Sam Darnold. So I love the move for the Panthers because you get a quarterback with the most upside in Sam Darnold available to you. I think he has more upside than any quarterback that would land to them at 8. I think he has more upside than Jimmy G or any quarterback in the free agent market. And right now, with Russell Wilson going nowhere, Deshaun Watson going nowhere, you don't have really much of a choice. And 2, it's flexible to where if Sam Darnold stinks, you got a way out. You can have 2022 be flexible and you can go somewhere else in 2022 without the contract or without the player being prohibitive. That's why I love this from Carolina's perspective. And for Sam Darnold, the reason why I love this and the reason why I think he can have true success in Carolina is that he is now finally with a competent organization, a competent offense for the first time since he was at USC. Look at what he'll be working with here in 2021. He'll have Joe Brady as his offensive coordinator. Now, if you remember Joe Brady, the offensive, or I should say the passing game coordinator at LSU, when Joe Burrow had an historic season at LSU. Joe Burrow was someone that, no joke, we would never, ever hear of if he played in 2020 like he did in 2019. He was pedestrian at best. Pedestrian at best. He was okay. I believe coming into the I think I screwed up the years. If he played in 2019 like he did in 2018, excuse me. But if he, going into that draft or going to his senior season in 2019, I believe the projection was a 6th round draft pick for Joe Burrow. 6th round. We would never hear about him. He'd be on a practice squad or maybe at best be someone's backup quarterback. But in part and in help because of Joe Brady and his offensive design, Joe Burrow set the world on fire at LSU. And I think he can do the same thing with Sam Darnold. I truly think he can do what he did at Joe Burrow, obviously on a lesser scale. Sam Darnold's not going to be breaking records in 2020 or 2021. But he can help elevate Sam Darnold's game to a point that we haven't seen before in New York with Todd Bowles or with Adam Gase. So you have a great-minded offensive coordinator who actually could put you in a position to succeed. You have one of the best running backs in all the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. Run the ball, catch the ball in the backfield, a tremendous weapon. You have Robbie Anderson, who used to be at the Jets, and now you're reunited. He was your number one option before Robbie left in free agency to go to Carolina. You have DJ Moore, a young wide receiver that's coming up. So for the first time in his career, he has weapons to throw the ball to, a decent offensive line to block for him, and a competent offensive mind to call the plays and know what works. even in New York, especially in the 2 years that Adam Gase was there. Dumpster fire, ugly, incompetent, whatever you want to call it offensively. It was ugly to watch. But one or two throws a game, I should say, without doubt, Sam Darnold would make an incredible throw. Now, granted, he had some terrible interceptions. He made some awful reads, don't get me wrong. But one or two throws a game, he'd roll out, throw across his body, make incredible reads, throw the ball on a dime, fit it into the tightest window possible. He would show flashes of his brilliance. And I think going to Carolina, they can bring that out of him consistently. Not once or twice a game, consistently. I think Sam Darnold really has a shot here to turn his career around and be a legitimate quarterback for the Panthers. I think he has a chance here to be the Panthers' franchise quarterback. So that's why I love this trade for Carolina. That's why I love it for the Sam Darnold. Total win-win on both sides. I think a lot of success is possible here. And in a division, mind you, look where the Panthers are. In a division where the Buccaneers, I think you can make the claim they're the best team in the NFL right now. They proved it in 2020, winning the Super Bowl. They are re-signing and bringing back everybody on that team. You think, even Tom Brady can get better in 2021 because now he'll have a full offseason with everyone, get on the same page. They don't have to work through the regular season like they did last year. But Tom Brady is 43 years old. I know every year this question is out there, how long will he play for? The fact of the matter is, 2-3 years, there's not a lot of shelf life left for Tom Brady. The Saints are in transition trying to replace Drew Brees. I like Jameis Winston down there. We'll see if he can actually live up and learn his lesson from Tampa Bay with all the interceptions. The Falcons right now are sort of in a mini rebuild. I'm still not really sure what the direction that they are. They restructured Matt Ryan's contract, so he's there for essentially 2 years. I'm not sure if that's the best move. We'll see what they're doing, but they're kind of in flux right now. They're in the middle. The Panthers now have done the rebuild. Now it's about using the assets that they have to draft legitimate players. They are a team that's on the up. A very young roster. Now you put a very young quarterback and Sam Darnold on the team. They have a chance to build continuity in the next 1 or 2 years to try to take over the NFC South 2 or 3 years from now, whenever the Bucs and Tom Brady kind of lose their reign and Tom Brady has to hang it up. So I think there's a legitimate shot here that this will work really well for Carolina and work really well for Sam Darnold.